Hmm.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grey Matters Unscripted. Steve Dotto here. How the heck are you all doing this fine day? I'm here with April. How you doing, April?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Friday.
It is a happy Friday. It's a very happy Friday. It's the end of, I guess it's kind of weird. Like where I live, it's the end of the school year. So this is Shannon's. This would have been Shannon's last week of students and welcome to Grey Matters. Do I hear that?
I don't know where that's coming in from. There we go. Sorry.
That was you?
Well, I have to stream. I have to stream our lives on another browser, so I try to.
So you can see for chat because
so it takes a delay, and then when it kicks in, I have to mute it immediately. So
okay. Yeah. Well, we're starting off really professionally here. This is good. This is good. This is good. I see everybody in the room. It is good to see you all. But I was just saying, this is always like a weird week because typically speaking, Shannon would be in school this week. She would be teaching. She would have the last day of the kids. And then the teachers have like a week to decompress and clean out classrooms and stuff. But she's only had a few kids in. Like they've had 20% of the kids in for the last 3 weeks. So there's been like 2 days that they've had kids in class, and then the rest of the days they're teaching online. So it's kind of just everything is akimbo, I think is the term. It's all up in the air. And your kids haven't been back in school for ages.
No, but we actually we got an email last night about Georgia's going back. They're taking the kids back a week early for college, and they are basically they're skipping their October break and they're going to Thanksgiving, and then they're home online for exams through December. But so it's kind of exciting. They're definitely going back. She was ecstatic.
Yes. Yeah, I imagine so. Well, yeah, it's but of course everybody's kind of going, okay, we're back, but what's back going to look like? How long is back? And so there's all of the unknowns. So we'll just park it and just keep going. I'm so glad you guys are joining us today. This is going to be fun today. I like these sorts of shows. Today we're going to be talking about a membership. A membership site that we're forming here in the Gray Zone with the Dotto Tech group, and it's not so much to get people signing up for it, although we will talk a little bit about what the opportunity is for the community. But I love it when we go kind of in the back room and see about the development of products. When I meet with my friends online, other online marketers, hearing the details of the decision-making process. I'm so glad you guys are joining us today. This is going to be keep turning it on.
Sorry.
It's okay. We would learn the decision-making process that they go through and the kind of the creative journey that different product offerings or different things have. I always find fascinating. And this is a big thing for us. This membership site that we're launching, which is called the Gray Wave, it's designed for baby boomers and Gen Xers. It's all of the stuff that we've been talking about on Grey Matters, about helping them to build an online business and discover an online presence and basically do what we do, making a living online. And there's so many different ways to do that. But it's a community where we're going to be teaching and training and nurturing that community. But we were a long ways when we started Grey Matters, which is the podcast. We were a long ways away from where we are today. And that's really the beginning of this journey. I thought we'd share a little bit of the conversation of that journey because and answer your questions on it, because it is, when you're developing any product, it's such an interesting, there's so many decision points that you branches in the road that you could take. There's so many different directions that you can go. And maybe just because it's ours, I think it's fascinating. So that's what I thought I'd share with you today. So that's what you can expect from today.
And I think it is fascinating because I think it shows people that we're just like them, right? And we go through the same things of decision processes and figuring out tools and all that good stuff.
What's up, sir? Yeah. Okay. If not, I will. Yeah.
The benefits of having kids home over the summer.
Yeah. Well, it's Sophie's yearbook day, and she hasn't decided if she wants to pick up the yearbook or not, and we're going through all of that. So
it's exciting.
It is exciting. I hated yearbook day. I was so excited about yearbook day, and I was always disappointed. I was always profoundly disappointed with yearbook day. I don't know why. I think it's a universal thing. And then the pressure of what are you going to sign in the person's yearbook, because you're going to have that damn thing forever.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Makes me kind of want to go back and grab one of the yearbooks and look at the signatures again, because they're like the old. Mind you, they're all done in chisel and in granite. Our yearbook was all done with a hammer and chisel.
I'm sure it was.
For our writing implements, so we went from the cave drawing to the hammer and chisel as we were going. So let's go back and so let's talk about the birth of a product, how it starts and how you get going. So this all came with a kind of an epiphany that I had, recognizing that all of the stuff that I'd been working on up to this point had a landing place where I felt really driven, that I wanted to make a difference in baby boomers and Gen Xers lives and teach them what I do. I guess we always have these moments when do you have it when you're noodling on a problem, you're trying to figure it out, and then all of a sudden you understand what you need to do and there's this clarity. But
yes,
for me, it was like 7 years from the point that it started the problem till I had clarity. Because when I stopped doing television, I just started throwing stuff at the wall, trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I started the YouTube channel, and that was kind of a placebo. It kept me going, and it kept me interesting because there was score that you could keep. You could always keep score. How many subscribers you're getting, how many views you're getting. Oh, now I'm starting to make money at it. So it was fun. It was like a game I was playing, but I didn't really have a goal in mind other than this is cool. And building and growing, and I want to see how big I can make it. Well, that's not really a way to lead your life. Let's see how big I can make something. But that was what it pretty much was the story with the YouTube channel. And we started to do little courses and other things that all attached to it. But again, there was no firm direction. So I was stumbling along. And it wasn't until I recognized that what I was doing, making a living online, was kind of unique for our generation, and that I had developed skills in understanding and comprehension of social marketing in the online space that many of my peers didn't have, that I had that realization that, oh my gosh, this is something that I want them to know, and I know it, so I want to share it. So that was 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, that I kind of had that realization. And that was the beginning of us creating Grey Matters and in the membership site that is now. But I had all these problems and this resistance in April. For example, April, I think right back then you said we should do a membership. Did you say that then?
I did. And you were like, no. You said no for a very long time. So
I didn't want to do a membership. Why didn't I want to do a membership?
Because you felt like it would, I think you were just concerned that you wouldn't have I personally think you felt like you wouldn't have a lot to offer it, and that it was a closed group, and that you liked, you were working hard on Webinar Wednesday, and you liked Patreon, and that you didn't, I actually don't think you understood a lot about that whole kind of that membership way and how it really worked and how it really creates a camaraderie and a community until recently,
And I'll return to this. There's a couple of questions. First of all, Ron George, I'm 75. Am I too old? Why? No, of course
just
not.
Getting started.
And I think it's the way I'm speaking. Mary, it's not a Gen Xer, it's a Gen Xer. It's the young folk. It's those people 45 years old to 55 years old.
That's me.
The Gen Xers. That's the Gen X, not Gen X. So here was the issue I had with a membership site is I kind of see myself as a teacher, or I've always seen myself as a teacher, teaching people how to use technology. And it seemed to me that doing a membership site was going to be a lot of work teaching and creating a lot of content on an ongoing basis. And it seemed like it was going to be a real effort. And plus, it was also very in vogue. It still is in vogue, but everybody was doing it. And there was lots of appeal to membership sites because membership sites have recurring revenue. They have a sense of community. There's all these benefits to it. But I saw it as just being a lot of work. And I didn't feel like I wanted to teach at that level. What changed is when I realized that memberships don't just need teachers, but they need leaders. And I saw that because of the success that we'd had, that members of the community looked at me, whether I looked at myself at that or not at that point, as a leader. And so the decision point for me wasn't about the business, but it was about my role and what I was going to do. And if I was going to step forward and say, okay, I'm going to be a leader for the community rather than just a teacher, it changes the responsibility that you have in it. It changes the relationship and the engagement you have. And it was a hard decision. But once I kind of got that in my head that I could do that, it almost became a responsibility saying, but Steve, you've done this and they need it. We need it. And we need success stories. We need examples. And I understood how to do it. So that was the tipping point where we started to then start that path. And that was only a year ago that we kind of hit that point. We've been sharing, I've been trying to teach through the podcast, but I hadn't been trying to lead the community into that space. So it was a little bit over a year ago that we kind of started moving down the path into where the membership would be. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I think, we started the Facebook group, and then I would say back in the fall is really, I can remember when you actually told me that you were thinking this way. And I was like, woohoo, this is exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we decide that we're going to do a membership site. We decide that this is what it's going to be. But now it's fun because now we get to start to look at all the different membership models and the technology that's involved in all of the tools. Now we're in our sweet spot. And that's what we've been doing for the last roughly year. So it all began. So again, preconceived issues. I didn't want to build the membership site in Facebook. Why, April?
Because Steve is not a fan of Facebook, as many of you already know.
Because I hate Facebook. So I really didn't want to build it there. And so many membership sites were built with on a framework of what Facebook is. Facebook, because there's all these challenges with dealing with Facebook. You've got Facebook's their management are just I have no idea what their value system is. So it's hard for me to do that business. They keep changing the rules. They use an algorithm to determine what's being served to people, as opposed to I wanted a site where if I'm sharing something with the community and they're paying us to be a part of it, then how am I going to make sure that they get the information? There was all of these issues that we had. So we began our journey in building a membership site, looking at everything but Facebook. We'll call it the ABF, anyone but Facebook model of building a membership.
And I can tell you, friends, that as we've evolved, he was dead set on we were not doing our community in Facebook. He really was.
Yeah. By the way, I eat crow so many times in this process. It is ridiculous. But so we started to look. So we looked at different tools, and some really appealed. We obviously used Thinkific already. So we had a learning management tool where we could host course content. But Thinkific, while it does a great job of hosting all of the content and the training materials, it doesn't do a great job of fostering conversation and community building. They do have a networking and they do have a community tab and a community area now, but it's not rich. And so it just didn't seem like it was going to serve us as a one-stop shop. So there are other sites like that, like Kajabi, like Teachable. They all have the same issue. They're good at hosting your content, but not necessarily good at fostering community. So we continued our journey. And the next two products that I looked at, one of them was, I've lost the name now. Mighty Networks.
Mighty Networks.
Mighty Networks was one. What was the other one that I looked at? It's one that's
very
similar. Podia. That's right.
Podia, yeah.
It's a name close to Podio, which is a different product. So we looked at these two products. Mighty Networks is a really interesting product. A couple of good friends of mine host their communities in it. Leslie Samuel hosts his blogging community in it. And it is almost like a Facebook-like interface with a little bit of Thinkific tied in. So you can within Mighty Networks, you can create it's got the threaded conversation track. So it's got like a homepage that you go to, and all of the conversations are happening, and then you have all of the course material available. Look, I'm pointing so you can see where things are. Isn't that great, Steve? But and I actually signed up for a paid account and took their master course on building a community, because I thought this is it. This is genius. They have a really good pricing module or revenue module where you can payment plans. You can set up all your payment systems. although it's somewhat limiting. It's kind of strange in the way that they put you into tiers as opposed to giving you total granular control over the pricing. But we thought we could work our way through it.
Well, and I want to add to that because I think this is a really important statement as you continue kind of our story. So you were at Social Media Marketing World, right? And you came back and you had talked to Leslie Samuel, and then you were excited about Mighty Network, and you had us jump into that. And I think one of the things, part of this process, was we had to test tools to see what was going to work, because one of the things that Steve does great as a teacher, he doesn't ever share something that he hasn't used, right? So his experience in going through it, and kind of Liz, we actually even like started to brand it. That's how far we were down this path of using this tool.
Yeah, we were building it out to see exactly how it worked. But another part of the process, going a little bit farther back in the Wayback Machine, was I recognized that I have limited skills as far as crafting sales offers. I'm not the best salesman in the world. I'm a good, it's my preconceived, I don't like closing. I don't like being salesy. So I hired coaches to help us put together the sales funnel for this for the membership. And we've spent a lot of money on it. Like, they're the most expensive people I've ever hired. And I figured, but they're good. And I had some great testimonials from some of my friends, and I knew the success that they had. And I knew that they were going to push me in directions that I wasn't comfortable in, but that it was important that we get that we develop those attributes in order to sell it, in order to be successful. Because at the end of the day, if you commit to creating a business, you have to do what it takes to make that business successful. And I knew that my blind spot is closing sales, is asking for the business, is doing an actual, hard sell at any point. So we hired coaches, and we've been working through, it's almost like therapy, but we've been working through the sales process for the public launch of it, which is not happening until September. So we're still early in that process of putting together all of the sales materials, et cetera, for it. But one of the things that they said to me early on was, they were asking what tools we're looking at. And I said, we're looking at Mighty Networks, and we're considering Podia, but it wasn't quite perfect for us. They said, well, they have experience with multiple membership clients. And without fail, they said, people don't want to launch into a tool like Mighty Networks. They will, but you have less engagement than if you put it in a place they already are. And then they said the F word to me. They said the F word to me.
Right.
They used the F word.
They did.
They said, think long and hard about using Facebook for it. I went, I said another F word. So it wasn't a place that I wanted to go, but you hire people to give you advice. So you listen. Right. So I listened.
Can I just clarify, though, that I want to make sure that people understand, like, the membership of Mighty Networks, it wasn't the content that he's talking about in Facebook. He's talking about the community where you have your conversations. And
where
so
you answer questions, and
where you answer questions. So I just want to make
energy. Yeah. Because any community of the sort that I wanted to build had to have self-generating energy. I needed people to talk to each other and support each other in order for the membership to have value. It had to be a community, not just a training site. So you need to generate that engagement, that conversations, those connections somewhere. So we could have done it within Mighty Networks, but they were saying it would work better in Facebook. And I was kind of going, we'll see. Along the same time, we launched our B-School launch. We did a B-School launch where we started to sell. And what B-School was all about, we sold B-School. Many of you are here from the B-School launch. One of the biggest reasons that we sold B-School, besides the fact it was a good business and it was a product that I liked, is the fact I wanted to see what it would be like selling to a baby boomer and Gen X community, selling this concept, to see if they were interested in learning this style, the online learning about building an online business, but B, if they were willing to spend the money that it takes, because B-School is not cheap. So are they willing to invest in themselves in order to participate? So we did another style of launch for B-School, which was a pop-up Facebook group, which is it's now become a kind of a classic online marketing technique, where we started a Facebook group, and many of you were part of it, where we started a Facebook group, and it was a pop-up group, and we went live into it every day for 26 straight days, where I streamed a little lesson. It was supposed to be 20 minutes a day. It was an hour every day, almost without fail. But where we trained and we talked and we nurtured, and oh my gosh, what a great community came out of it. And we had, I don't know whether we were successful in the B School launch or we were not successful. I was happy with the B School launch. We sold, I think, about 40. We brought about 40 people into the community, which is a big investment on their side. And then that continued on through we just finished with that community last week, basically doing bonus trainings and supporting them in their journey through B School. But it was a really good experience for me to experience what a Facebook group could be like in that kind of pop-up, intense, building a community quickly form. And how many people did we have sign up for that ultimately? Like 500 people or so?
Oh, no, we were just under 1,000. And so you figure,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And so I think we were just under 1,000. And I would say that, you figure 26 days, right? That was amazing. And on top of that, the excitement and the conversation was amazing. And so even though we were selling and talking about B School, we were talking about building your business, and people were excited about that and helped drive actually our live streams, because there would be days we're like, okay, well, we're going live this week. What are we going to be talking about? And that community dictated a lot of what we talked about and shared about building your business.
So not only did it serve its purpose in marketing, and did it serve its sales purpose in helping us successfully be an affiliate for Marie Forleo for her B School launch, and to close that business and meet our objectives there. But for me, it taught me that my preconceived notions about Facebook I should revisit, because I was obviously, we'd done a good job of building a community. We'd formed new relationships with new members, and there was like a lot more good than bad came out of it. Now that experience, plus my coaches telling me, no, Steve, if you build at Mighty Networks, you're going to have an initial surge, but because people aren't in Mighty Networks every day as they're, just kind of normally thing, they aren't stumbling into kind of checking in. They aren't as engaged with the community. So think long and hard about doing it in Facebook. So I don't know. Okay. So we went back to the drawing board, and I don't know whether I made it an executive decision or we discussed it, but we decided that we were going to build the community in Facebook, the community side in Facebook. But then what I liked about that is it meant that we could go back to our good long-term relationship with Thinkific, and we could build the supporting the infrastructure, the proper physical infrastructure for the community in Thinkific. So, but Thinkific, as it comes out of the box, is kind of not pedestrian, but is vanilla. It's just got a certain look to it. But there are people who have taken Thinkific and made it look phenomenal, made it look like this beautiful, engaging website that nurtures you through and leads you through all of the content. And so I reached out to my friends at Thinkific and I said, how do they do that? And there are consultants that you can hire that will take your Facebook, that will take your Thinkific site, and they build it into a membership site. That's their specialty. And so what the heck? We hired them. And so that was the second big investment that we made in it. But that is now in the process of being built. So the framework is all architected out, and now we're starting to get a real feel. So we're going to have, when we launch the new community, we will have a infrastructure that will support them. So that was the second thing that we had to kind of go through. Is there anything you want to say on that? That was just.
No. I think one of the things that is right on point is that when you decided to kind of do the membership, you recognize, and you talk about it all the time, that, you hire people that are smarter than you to help you execute and do the things. So that was one of the things with hiring the person to do our membership. And the other thing too is that we knew I mean, Liz is a phenomenal designer, and she's doing the branding of it, but we knew that within our own team that wasn't, if we wanted to get it to where we know from an end user perspective what was needed, that we really needed some help.
And there are people who do this who have, I mean, building a membership site is no different than building any other product, any other course, any other online offering, any other digital product that you're going to create. And we've taught enough people, and I've delivered enough online courses to know the traps that we fall into. And we teach it to others, but of course, how often do we pay attention to what we teach to others when we build it ourselves? So, I mean, I knew one of the traps was that we tend to overbuild. Because we're always insecure with a new product going forward, we want to make sure there's success. We try and put as much content into that so that people will always be just over. You want to blow your patrons away. You want to blow your customers away with the value you offer, because you don't want a dissenting word. And we only hear the dissenting words. All of the people that say it's a great job, you know, I'm getting a lot out of it, all of the success falls by the wayside pretty quickly if you have one person that says, I don't think you really delivered on this. And you're, you feel crushed by that. So we tend to overbuild. So I was speaking with a few of my friends who have very successful membership sites, and I was talking about the content mix, because now we've got architecture in place. We know that we're going to host them in Facebook. We've got we know what the topics are going to be. We know what we're teaching, which is online marketing and building an online business. So now, how much do we put in? So now we need to come up with a program. What's going to be in the module? Now, memberships are very different than courses. Courses have a beginning and an end. We're going to teach you the basics. We're going to teach you the intermediate stuff. We're going to teach you the extra stuff. We're going to finish off what we're going to teach you. And then we got bonus materials to make sure that that you feel really inclined to buy it off us and not from our competitor. And that's a course. Here it is, ready to go. And it's finite. Membership sites are open-ended.
Right.
And so there's a community aspect of nurture, but people are going to be joining at all different levels of abilities. People right from the beginning through to people who are very experienced. So how do you decide on the content? So initially, I think we thought we'll just do it like the Facebook pop-up group. Steve will go live every single day and train. And we weren't quite that much, but I was thinking every week we're going to drop one new lesson, and we're going to go live 2 or 3 times a week with supporting content. And because we're charging a lot for this, and we want to deliver a lot in this. And it was actually Justin Brown and his brother Mike. I could still see, we were walking along, we were at Social Media Marketing World, walking along in front of the San Diego Convention Center, and they were asking me about the mix of content that I was thinking about putting in my community. And I told them, and they both stopped. They stopped me in the street. They turned me face to face, and they said, do not do that. That's way too much content. You will overwhelm your audience. You will burn yourself out. And it's a recipe for disaster. And I said, I don't know. They said, trust us, we did it. It's a disaster. And then I started to listen to what other people were telling me. They were telling me the same thing. Here's kind of one of those epiphany moments. People who sign up for your community have lives. While you are 100% focused with your energy, or a big part of your energy is focused on your membership site and your product, it's a small percentage of their day. So if you are 100% pouring all of this content in and expecting them to give attention to what it is you're creating, you're asking for too much of a commitment from them. You ask them for their money and their time. That's a double whammy. So boiling it down, making sure you're delivering the most valuable content that you can in as conservative an amount of time as possible to hit that kind of that value balance. That is a really important consideration, building a membership site. And it's still, I got to be honest, it's still one that we are working our way through. One of the reasons that we are launching our membership in the style that we are, which is what's called a founder's launch, where we are inviting a small cadre of people into it for the first 2 months, is for us to measure the engagement and to find that sweet spot for how much we are going to be delivering. We have a plan that we've thought out as well as we can. We put the work in, but we have to make sure that it lands and that our members see the same value as we're hoping to deliver. So that was a big deal. And we probably spend as much time talking about the sequence of course content and how we're going to drop it as we have any point of this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we decided at the end that we were going to have 2 main course items per month. This is our current plan, which is subject to change. So right now we're going to be going live twice a week. One with a training, the other one with a lab where we follow up. And each one we're going to try and keep to a half an hour. I always say half an hour. We always say half an hour, but I'm always an hour. It seems to be my time. But it's got to be a reasonable amount of time. So that's week 1 is going live with the training and then following up with a Q&A to allow people to give questions back. And then week 2, we drop supporting content. And we're using the technique that we teach in our developing online courses called the rapid course development technique, which is how you deliver the minimum viable product. You deliver what you absolutely know they need to learn. And then you listen to the questions from your community and they will tell you the other things they need to do that you didn't cover. Then you create the content to support that. And then you have a really good, rich, information-dense module that respects time. It's not full of fluff. It's full of core content that is of high value. It's very protein heavy as opposed to a lot of carbs. It might not taste as good, but it will get you through the day and get you to where we want to be. And then we have another live the second week, which we're still vacillating about whether it's going to be more far open Q&A in that sort of thing. So that is the next kind of level that we had to kind of come through in the decision-making process in building. So, I mean, if you're thinking about building a membership site, there's a lot of decision points that you go through when you do it, and recognizing the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. There's just a real rich tapestry of things that you have to go through. The next key point for us was we needed to figure out how we were going to support those students through that. And that's where April came in. And April, who was originally hired by us to run all of our systems, turns out she's really good at nurturing communities. So April is now, as of the start of this month, our full-time community manager. So she has a whole new job description. It's not like she still doesn't have to do her other stuff, but she has a whole new job description. But her job full-time going ahead is going to be managing, nurturing, supporting that community, which as well as delivering some of the content into the community. So that was the kind of the next building block as we built out all of the pieces. So that brings us to the launch. So we've now decided on the technology that we're going to use. We know the content mix that we're going to have. We've figured out the delivery rhythm of content. Sorry. Hi. Well, I'm doing a live stream. Everybody?
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody. This is Sophie. You got to bend down because we're on a little camera.
Hi, Sophie.
Goodbye.
Okay. Got to wait for half an hour or so, Soph.
Okay.
Hopefully, yes. Where was I? It's usually the dog interrupting. He's been really good. Okay.
Summer vacation started, so.
Yeah, I guess she's decided to go pick up the yearbook. So where was I? Oh, so now you've got a membership site ready, and now it gets into the fun marketing thing. So now we want to launch the membership site to the community. We want to start selling it. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you do that. And so the route that we took, I think it's kind of maybe the flavor of the week, but I really like it. And so what we started is a founders launch. So what we wanted to do is we want to be able to beta test the site for a short period of time to test that all of our preconceived notions about how we're going to be delivering the content and manage it are indeed correct. Plus, remember what I said about the difference between a course? It's got all of the content in. Membership site is ongoing. How much do you pre-build into a membership before you open it?
This has been a huge discussion for us.
Oh, it is. It's a difficult thing. So if you build a whole bunch of stuff so that it's beginning to end, you've built a course. So why are you calling it a membership? So it becomes like, oh, and your head starts to spin. So the other reason that we wanted to launch through this founders launch is we say, okay, we're going to go in virgin. We've got bonus content of our existing training materials, video courses, YouTube courses, affiliate marketing courses. We've got some content that suits, but is kind of in silos, but fits for some of the members. So we can bonus that in. We can add that as extra rich content to it. But the actual course content that we want to deliver, the training that we want to deliver live, we don't have any of that because we haven't delivered anything live yet. So the founders launch, by having a small group of people that we test on, also allows us to take 4 lessons, 4 weeks of content or 2 months of content, and have it pre-baked in the membership before we launch it to the public. But the people who sign up first are getting less value at the beginning because there isn't this library of content in there, and they aren't getting, and they're being asked to do some extra things, like I'm testing them. There are guinea pigs. So with a founders launch, what you do is what we did is we said, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to join the community, and it's going to cost X amount of dollars per month once you've joined the community. We're going to take the founders, this 50, we decided to set it at 50 people. We're going to have 50 people. We're going to make them an offer where they have to apply, because we hope that there's going to be more than 50 applying. And we're going to ask them to fill out an application form, and we're going to cherry pick the ones who we know will get feedback from, who we believe are kind of, that are going to be good sounding boards. Hopefully some of them will have real success at the end of the 2 months, so we can have some great testimonials that we can deliver and we can use in our sales webinars when we go to launch for real. So we're looking for certain qualities in them that are going to benefit us as well. And then we'll offer them a deal. So we'll offer them a price for X number of dollars. And the bonus for them trusting us and for giving the extra feedback is we will grandfather them into the community and not charge them membership fees afterwards. And so we put that offer forward. And we made that offer on Tuesday, and April will drop it in. We're deciding on the 50 people this week. By Sunday, we're closing the application form, and the people will be informed early next week that they're in. And then so that's all working out quite well. I'll share some numbers with you in a few minutes.
You're going to have to put it into YouTube. I'm sorry. Don't mean to interrupt. You're going to have to put it into YouTube. I'll drop the link in Slack so you can just copy it.
Okay. Here, I'll put it in. Okay, let me just grab it here. But so the cool thing about this, as it for me, where was I? I was going to say something about it. Oh, but one of the criteria that I'm looking for as we bring these people in is recognizing these people are already going to be steeped in our process, and they will have helped build the process when we launch it to the public. So I'm looking for more leaders. I'm looking for the people that are joining to be the sort that will engage in the community as the new members come in, because it's one thing. I know that it's pretty easy for me to create content that's valuable, that you will learn from, that you will learn how to run your business. That's easy, but I could do that in a course. What's the challenge? The art to building a community is making it a community, is making sure that there's an engagement between the individuals within the community that creates the rich environment that we're looking for. So we are going to be looking for people who are community minded, who share, who engage, because then when we launch to the public, oh my gosh, what a rich environment we have. What a great sales offer I will have in September if everything falls into place. If we have 50 members who are engaged in giving us feedback, making sure that our content is on point and valuable, who are already invested in their success and have some success stories that I can show, but also vested in each other's success, because now relationships are building. So they welcome new people into the community. And so now when September comes, we should have just a phenomenal thing that people are just chomping at the bit to get in. So that's how we have built the membership offering that we put forward. So as far as the numbers goes, I will share with you that when we launch in September, the membership is going to cost $500 for people to join, and it'll be $100 a month. So for our founding members, we said you pay the $500, but you never pay again. So they're in. But I'm going to be looking for a lot from these people. I'm going to be hoping that we do a really great job of selecting them, and they help to nurture our community for a long time to come. So we had a meeting when we launched this, I got to tell you, I was nervous as heck. April will tell you, I was on Tuesday when we launched this to the public. I was like on tenterhooks. I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Because I had a meeting with our coaches the week before, and I said, what happens if we hit Friday? What happens if we hit this moment right here where I'm live streaming talking about it, and we have 35 people, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to be so anxious. And so I was really worried that we would have enough people sign up. Well, we do have enough. We're in the
we're overwhelmed by all the wonderful comments, and it's actually turned into a competition because people are emailing us and telling us why they should be part of the founders, and so it's been pretty humbling, actually.
Yeah, it's been very affirming from our perspective. But now we've got way more people than we can possibly admit, so we have a whole new problem that we don't want to piss people off by not having them in, and we want to honor and recognize their energy. So we've come up with now a program to make sure that the people who are not able to join in the founders group we're still going to recognize their faith in us and their belief in us and the fact that they want to take their lives and develop this skill set, and we're going to be taking care of them in a slightly different way. And so we'll be letting everybody know what that is. So we've got the program figured out now for that. So that we'll be announcing that. You'll hear about that next week on our live stream. We'll be able to tell everybody what happens if you have applied, which thank you for all of you. And I see many of you here who have applied, but for some reason you didn't make the final cut. We still want to make sure that we recognize the value, and we want to encourage you and thank you. It's just, we're going to be holding it to 50. So that's the way we're putting it together.
Somebody's reaffirming, were you nervous? Yes, Steve was very nervous. I've only seen Steve actually like anxious, nervous only a few times in the time we've been working together, and he definitely was, which kind of made me nervous. But I was like, we're going to do this. This is fine. We got this.
I'll tell you why I was nervous.
Excuse me.
This is the first time that we've put ourselves out this way. You know, we've done courses which are contained, and course can be a success or failure, but it's not like you're putting your reputation and you're not putting your dream on the line when you deliver a course. When I release a video, I've got a little bit vested in the video, but it's like, okay, if people don't like it, I can make another video. This is the culmination of, this is the vision of what I believe people need and want, and how I can offer that to the gray zone, to the baby boomers and to Gen Xers. This is something that's important. It was important to me because I know how much of a difference it can make. There's so much anxiety out there. There's so many of our peers are being disenfranchised and starting to feel like we're past it and that we don't have a place in this next 10 years, 20 years. And I think that's terrible. I never want to be marginalized. I never want to be irrelevant. And this is our chance to help people remain relevant, remain engaged, help them make money, help them do good still, and still be an active member of a community, society, the economy as we move ahead. So yeah, it was important to me. It was important to me. Oh, Liz is scoreboard watching. She's putting it whenever a new application comes in. I started going through the applications today. Did I tell you, April? I started filtering through, because now we've got the decision. So we're going to be going through and we're going to be voting on people and doing this whole thing. Because I want the ability to, whenever anybody isn't accepted, to say, I voted you in, but April and Liz, they were the bad guy.
He's so bad. So bad. And everybody, I mean, very impressive with where people are in their business, and very honest of like, thank you for sharing the information you've shared. You know,
will I be developing an online course content delivered centered around Thinkific, or can it work with other LMS? All of the stuff that we teach will be very network agnostic. The principles that we teach in developing an online course, or when we teach about developing digital products, you could take and you could apply into Kajabi, you could apply into Thinkable, etc. But so yeah, we don't. We recognize that people are going to be using different platforms. So what we teach is you should be able to translate into any platform. Oh, Michael is loving your comment of the week feedback. You saw it. So he's a personal Facebook friend. So I do something called comment of the week when people are rude to me on YouTube every week. And somebody wrote to us who was on our mail list when we put out the offer of the Grey Matters or the Grey Zone, the Grey Wave offer. They were very upset that we inferred that they could possibly be gray. And in fact, the first line was, "I'm not gray like you, and I'm insulted by the fact that you would think I was, and how you should know more about your market, and deeply disappointed and mortally offended by the comments." To which April replied, "Obviously, you're not really the target market for our community. We cater to a more mature audience." And it was like, that was a good one. So,
They did reply. Did I tell you that?
yeah, I saw the reply,
Oh, yeah.
but it was just like, I don't think they're on the live stream. If they are, we're in trouble. So there. So do we have any questions, April? Have you noticed? Should I be looking through here? I've
Yes.
been popping up some.
So one of the questions was, why not build the membership on our own real estate, like on our own website? Was that a consideration? We did consider it, but maybe you can talk to why.
We are all of the core content, the actual lessons being delivered are going to be delivered in Thinkific. So we are not building that on rented ground. The Facebook community for it is the community engagement, the conversation side. And I do have the confidence that if it grows and if Facebook becomes problematic in it, that we could then migrate that out of Facebook. The convenience of Facebook and is just works for us right now, including the fact that Facebook is building other tools in that are really designed for this sort of group activity. They've recently released Facebook Rooms, which I think are god awful for individuals, but might work really well for small video conferences like this, for small meetings like this within the community, within the group. So April will be testing that out in her. She'll be doing like an open office hours type thing. And so we'll be testing out Facebook Rooms for that. So we are building part of it in rented ground, but it's also a rental unit that we can move everybody from. If it becomes problematic and Facebook does end up disappointing us in any way, we can move people into a discuss forum. We can move everybody fully into Thinkific if they improve their community area. We can migrate the community because we have control. We have permission to talk to everybody. They're all in our Infusionsoft database. We email them. We'll be in regular conversation and contact. So we could move the community if we want to. We just think that right now, for the start, it's going to work best within Facebook.
Another question, Glenn was saying, will our chance of being accepted be enhanced by sending a supplemental email?
If you think that you didn't do a good job, as going through the course, the content, the spreadsheet and all of the submissions, some people gave me a really good feel of what they're hoping to do and what their value what they see in the course and what they hope to get out of it, or within the membership. And other people just kind of did a very minimum entry. If you did a fairly minimum entry and now you're rethinking, send us an email. And anybody that's reached out to us creatively and tried to bribe us, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I like wine. No, I'm kidding. There was a question here. I've been considering building a membership community. Have you been writing out all your process decisions you need to make an outline of how to?
No, this is the first time that we've kind of delivered this and kind of thought our way through it. It's been, we did say yesterday, the day before, that this journey is going to make a great bit of content somehow, whether it's going to be baked into the course, whether I'm going to make a video on it, whether we're going to make a webinar. It'll definitely be one of our webinar Wednesdays coming up as we go through this process. Because I obviously the fact that so many of you stayed on and stayed engaged, you find the journey as fascinating as I do.
Right.
And so it's something that we will do, but we haven't done it at this point.
Yeah, and part of our content strategy in the membership, we do have building membership components on there. So we'll share different things about that as well.
Yeah. Now, Greg, I see that you're worried about it. We're actually going to be doing a second, a little live stream. Greg was in the B School can the form be edited? I don't think you can edit your form. So if you
No, yeah, you just want to send an email. You can send an email to
send it as an email rather than doing another submission, because that would be confusing. But anybody that's part of B School, we are going to be going live to B School. I think tomorrow we're going to do a special little live a Zoom call with the core group of people that took B School and talk to you about it, because we have something, we have a separate door for the B Schoolers, so they don't have to worry as much about their application. So we'll fill you guys in on that tomorrow.
So Ron's asking, so you have the applications for the founders. Do we wait for the membership launch? So Ron, actually, the applications close on Sunday, the 21st. So there's still time to apply for that if you're interested. And Steve, you're going to have to drop that back into YouTube. Sorry.
What's that? The application?
The link. Yeah. Yep.
There it is.
Let's see. There's some other questions here. I saw one and it went by. Okay, so one of the questions Scott was asking was, so I'm in the market for a new computer and I've applied to the founders launch you're doing. The tools you use, are we going to be sharing about Windows and Mac tools? And I had said yes, and I just wanted you to reaffirm that it's not definitely all Mac tools that we're sharing within the membership.
No, most of the tools that we share are agnostic, are web-based tools. I know when I teach how to create videos, I typically will use ScreenFlow as a video editing tool, but Camtasia is pretty much identical. So yeah, there's very seldom is anything going to be vertical, and we'll always give an option of a Windows. If it is Mac OS only, then we'll always give a Windows option. Kirk is asking, I say we haven't actually officially announced all of the pricing, but the pricing for the course there'll be a $500 enrollment, and then it'll be $99 a month. Will be in September when we launch to the public.
Right.
If we're applying to be part of this membership now, we will have a special offer for the people that applied to be in the founders launch.
Steve, can you just drop our email into YouTube, the info at, because it won't let me. Sorry. All right.
You need to reach out to April. This is the way to do it.
And
yeah, it's in there.
All right. Podcasts will still be free. Yes. So why don't you talk about how we're delivering what and if anything's changing to our additional content, our regular scheduled content?
No, nothing's changing in our regular scheduled content. This is something new. The podcast is free. So the sales funnel for this, if we look at the overall Dotto Tech marketing strategy, is the kind of the top level, getting people interested in getting people thinking about it, is through the podcast, is through the Grey Matters podcast. That's where I hopefully, reach out to new people, get them knowing about our voice and how we look at the world. And we'll be driving people to the Facebook group and ultimately to the landing page that we have. And we'll be doing a webinar for this that will be evergreen in September for this membership. So as far as the Grey content, the podcast will continue. And for the time being, this live stream, this Grey Matters Live, Unscripted, this will continue as well. I'm not as married to this live stream, just depending on how the rest of the mix goes, but I've got to admit, I really am enjoying it. It's easier to do than the podcast. So the podcast and this will continue. Webinar Wednesday continues, because Webinar Wednesday is really a completely separate entity. There's so much of productivity that we teach in there, and it is supported primarily through our patrons. So that live free training, especially in the productivity space, will continue. So Webinar Wednesday continues without any change. And our YouTube publishing, when we're really feeling our oats, we're publishing twice a week on YouTube. I would love to maintain that schedule, but I can't promise that we're going to maintain it with the new. We'll definitely be still publishing at least once a week, but we'll see it. We'll see how the work goes down. We've got April and Liz and myself do everything now, but we're all full time now on our mix. We have one other hire that's starting, which is going to be a junior person that's going to be helping us with our with our copywriting, content, SEO stuff. So we'll see how the mix works with that. We'll probably end up with somebody else. We're probably going to end up having to expand by probably another person in the not too distant future, and that will affect how much we can create. But hopefully the main value of content is still going to continue just as it is.
All right. Can you, so I have two other questions. So the first, can you explain the pricing for the founders launch? I actually, our friend Jane just messaged me on Facebook. So how the pricing for the founders launch works,
Okay.
how much it is, like what the perks are.
The founders launch pricing is $500. And for that, they will get access to about $1,500 worth of existing courses. Our online video course on creating online videos, which is $500. Our Winning at Webinar course, which is another $500 course. Our how to start a YouTube channel, how to do your first online course, and our course on affiliate marketing. So all of that is kind of bonus content that's included as kind of extra reading, as it were. Once they pay the $500, they'll be in with us for 2 months during the founders launch as we create the new content and we create the new routine of publishing. And then in September, we'll be launching it to the public. We'll be inviting new people in. We'll be doing a full-on launch webinar, sales page, Steve hammering the pitch, doing the whole sales bit to the public. At that point the founders will be in the community and they will not pay the monthly fees. Everybody joining in September will be paying an upfront fee, the $500 upfront fee, plus $99 a month will be the ongoing content. The reason that we're going to be having that upfront fee of $500 is every time anybody joins, they're getting the benefit of all of the previous investment that others have made. So the people joining in September are getting the benefit of all of the investment that our founders made in creating the content. Because every week that goes by, every month that goes by, there's going to be more rich content, more value, equity in the membership site. So that's the justification for the upfront fee. Plus they all get bonus content. Everybody's going to get access to all of our other courses, etc. So there's good value at least as far as I'm concerned. So that's going to be the pricing. So the founders, it's a very special deal. That's why we're limited to 50. It's $500 lifetime access. They won't ever pay again. But I'm looking for them to be leaders as well as students as they go through.
How will it affect, if at any way, Patreon?
It shouldn't. I mean, Patreon continues, and Patreon is its own entity. And Patreon really supports the free content that we do. This is for the way that Patreon is really the engine room behind Webinar Wednesday, which has been such a joy for all of us. But Webinar Wednesday is a mile wide and 8 inches deep. We cover lots of different content, open your eyes to lots of different ideas, have fun with a lot of different things. But we really don't teach you a lot. We expose you to a lot, but we don't teach you a lot. This is teaching. This is learning the skills. This is building a business. You're investing in your skills. People on Patreon's $10 a month. They're showing their support. They're showing their gratitude. They're vested in the content. But it is a great list builder. It's a great calling card. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of people that necessarily don't want to work as hard. They don't want to build that business, but they're still curious mind, and it gives them the opportunity to support us. So that we'll continue with that. It won't change.
All right. Let's see. So the question remains, when the heck are you going to be able to take some time off?
There was just a little Slack message about that. Last week of July, first week of August, I'm going to be dark. And then when we come back the last 2 weeks of August, we're in full launch mode. So that'll be, we'll still be delivering the content in the, for the training, but I can do it from the lake. I'm booked to go to the lake. So that's good.
Yes. Yes, that is one benefit of having an online business. You can kind of work from anywhere.
Yeah. Family doesn't always appreciate it, but I get up early in the morning and do it. I won't be very visible, but I'll be working. So that's it. I think we can wrap it up.
I think so. Just if you can drop the link to through StreamYard, that'd be great.
I will drop it one more time. You're talking about the application?
The application, yes.
I gotta say, you haven't started going through them yet, have you, April?
I have. I started,
Yeah.
yes.
Isn't it fun?
It is a lot of fun. It's a really, what I like is, and one of the things that I really enjoyed about B School was getting to know our community on a much more personal level, like learning their goals and stuff. And it's been great to see the applicants that I know are our Patreon people and our regular webinar Wednesday people that I chat with all the time, and that we're community friends, but learning a little bit more about them has been, it's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Matt, Mary Catherine has a great question. By the way, Mary Catherine, it sounds too much like my nuns from elementary school, so I had a little shiver there. Yeah, it's Mary Catherine. The time commitment is, we're looking at 1 hour, roughly 1 hour on Tuesdays for the live stream. There'll be a 30-minute to 45-minute lab on the Thursday, which will be live. And most of the content will be delivered, and the most of the value will come from those 2 sessions. On the following Tuesday, we drop new videos into the module, which is supporting content, or new lessons into the module, which is supporting content for what we've already covered. So it's not a live, it's something that you can consume at any point. And you can always watch the recordings. You don't have to necessarily participate in the first 2 live either. The recordings will be available. And then for the founders launch on the week after the Thursday, the 4th of the the 4th of the lessons that we do, that's Q&A feedback for us, for you to give us feedback on the value of the content, the level of the content, that sort of thing. So it's more the founders feedback, which is going to help us inform us to do the next module more effectively. And so we'll have 4 modules. We'll have that cycle happen 4 times, 4 lessons with 4 labs, 4 supporting pieces of content dropped, and 4 times that we'll be asking you for feedback that will help us create help us create the mix and make sure that we're on point with how we're delivering it.
Well, and I think the key to that is with those modules, even though they're recorded, kind of the expectation of the founders is they're actually going to take those modules and execute too on the information, and really that participation piece is going to be huge for us to make sure that we're delivering everything that that we can to you, and that you're learning, and that if we need to do a little more here or a little less there.
That's it. So that's good. Okay. I've got to drive a kid to school to pick up her yearbook. April's got work to do. We've got to go through and evaluate everybody.
There is some lingering questions, but I know we got to go. But I will answer them in the chat for you.
Oh, good stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll wrap things up. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I enjoyed sharing this with you. It was good fun. And to everybody that's applied, thank you so much. The faith that you guys are putting in us, it lands very deeply with me. So I appreciate that. Till B-Schoolers, check your email. We'll be sending out an invite later today. We'll have a chat tomorrow. Everybody else, we'll see you webinar Wednesday this week. We're doing online photos. It's going to be awesome. Check your email for that. If you are applying, get those applications in by Sunday night. That's going to be the close off. So, but earlier is better because we're going through them now. Till next time. Thank you so much, April.
Thank you, guys.
Have fun storming a castle.